for me and Anson and Sydney, we launched, this was the first year, we launched our ChemRex, that stands for Chem Research Experience, ChemRex, and there's our little logo that I decided to make our logo. So we were very happy to start this program last summer. We're going to do it again this summer with another faculty member, and the scholarship fund keeps growing, people keep donating, and so we're really excited to start this for our students. I will just point out that this research experience is specifically designed for our students that do not get REUs. So we really promote that they sign up and try to get REUs at other institutes, but if we have students that don't get one, that is who we are really offering this to, that we still want to bolster their future, help them have that research skills, and we want them to go out somewhere else, but if some of our students are non-traditional and have families, so some of them can't leave the valley, right? And so this gives them an availability to do that kind of research. All right, so I'd like to take any questions at this point that you guys might have. Yes?
For some of the unknown species that you've got, do you envision that you're going to get those in enough concentration that you can grow a crystal and get a crystal structure?
That is my goal. So my goal is to do enough background solution experiments to be able to get find nice pure samples of them, crystallize them, and then send them off to U of O or UC Davis, whoever has a better price, to get the unit cells solved for. But because it's so expensive and because I'm working on such a limited budget at SOU, we really wanted to find like this diagnostic tool that would allow us to look through the millions of samples to find the relevant one. Because when I was at U of O, I think I became a little unappreciative of how much things cost. Because I sent a lot of crystals to be analyzed that were just salt, right? They were just monomer, they were not clusters. And I really had to rethink how I would go about doing these experiments on a tight budget. So aluminum, salt, and water, that's cheap, right? So my students can mess up a lot doing that. And then when we get that good sample, yes, I'd love to find a new cluster this way. Yeah.
So I hope you have at least one fridge set aside for a 3-year.
We have a part of a fridge set aside. We don't get the whole one.
I do have a real question, I guess. So I'm curious about the mu3 hydroxide having a lower pKa than, because I mean, I guess I view aluminum as an electropositive element, so I'm just curious, why is it that having 3 aluminums has a lower pKa?
Well, so I mean, those 3 aluminums are going to be pulling electron density really from that. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Well, because of their other.
Right. So yeah. I had this argument with Darren a lot. So Andrew and I went to grad school at the same place, so he knows my advisor. So Darren and I talked about this a lot, and all I can say is the data doesn't lie, right? Like,
oh, absolutely.
Right. Like, I'm not 100% sure why the mu3 wanted to I always said because I learned oxygen likes to have 2 sets of lone pairs, and that's going to get closer to what it was, but that was not a good argument that Darren liked. But I am unsure why that is the first to unpronate. I would say there's something that has to do with how available those protons are to solution, right? Where other protons in this cluster are kind of tucked into pockets, and so there's a hydrogen bonding that exists between this and water, and so I think it's very easy for it to leave with water, whereas some of these other ones are a bit more protected. So less I really truly believe about it being the mu3 and more about how accessible it is to the solvent.
Thank you.
Yes.
Could you do a deuterium exchange with that same project?
Ooh, we did, yes. We did deuterium, and then with these, I have had students dissolve them into D2O and then watch over time to see if anything has disappeared. But on the aluminum version, we never see these. And so they're gone like that. Now these other ones, I'd really like to do some VT and start to study the exchange rates of some of the, especially on those 5 signals of the aluminum 30. I'd love to do some VT, but our NMR is so old, you can't really trust the temperature, and so I would be doing experiments, again, preliminarily, that I would want to repeat when we get that new NMR, so.
Would tritium make a difference?
I think it would probably change the exchange rate, but I'm not sure that it would make a difference for viewing it. But I mean, that is an interesting, I mean, definitely will change the exchange rate, right? It'll slow it down. Yeah. My students love being able to get on the NMR, right? Like that's my goal, is to give them a manageable experiment set that they get to go in there and do the experiments themselves. And at this point in my career, I'm realizing that like it's all about them, right? Like it's all about them, especially at a PUI, that, you know, yes, I want my results and I want to build the story, but they go so quickly that they never can learn that big story, and so for them I have to make it a good experience, and so it becomes these little packets for them, right? Like here, you do this little piece, and they don't always see the big story. Yes?
Where do they end up?
Oh, well, all over the place. So Reed is actually up here in Portland working in industry. I'm not exactly sure which industry. Eliana just got accepted to graduate school. She was trying to pick between Kentucky and Buffalo, New York, so I'm not sure which one she picked. Molly was working in industry in our valley, but she decided she wants to go back to graduate school. Kieran is at Oregon State in graduate school. Walker Andrews is in med school. So I would say about 1/3 of our students want to go into health professions, 1/3 want to go to graduate school or get a master's, and about 1/3 of them stay in the region and work in industry with their bachelor's degree. Or, and by region, maybe Pacific Northwest, because we have people that go up to Seattle, people that go down to the Bay Area. We have a lot of Bay Area people that come up for school and then want to go back home. But yeah. Yes?
So, one more question. I'm just curious about the methyl chloride as your enema. Like, how did that particular chemical come up?
It was what would dissolve and what we had available, and I was hoping the chemical shift was it was going to be fine with the chloride, and if we go back I can show you, it was the nitrate that I believe was the big problem, and I wasn't thinking about the changes in chemical shifts when we picked it. Now when I was in grad school we used chloroform in the DMSO, but that was not soluble in our water, and so I think I went too far. I got so excited I just kept going. So it was fine in our chloride samples, but then all of a sudden when we did the nitrate, it was right in the middle of our signals, and that became pretty frustrating. But we had put that in the D2O insert, and so it wasn't in our sample, and then I didn't want them to have to like clean out the D2O insert, which is very, very tiny and very hard to clean, and so we just kept it for the experiments, although it was not in an ideal location. I would have loved if we had found something if we had done a little bit more work and found something that was down there farther. Yeah.
On that front, maybe due to radiocarbon, which if I recall is around the 2 to 2.5.
Oh, and then we would have it down on this side. That would be, what I really want is just to get D2O with the SH, what is it, the side, why can't I think? The thing at 0, the reference at 0. Yeah, TMS. Oh gosh, brain fart, right? I want to get some of that with TMS, but it's very hard to find right now. All chemicals, as you might know, are very expensive right now. But yeah, that was really what I wanted, was just some D2O with TMS in it, but we didn't have any available.
TMS isn't soluble with D2O, is it?
What, isn't it? Well, no, we had to have had something that had an internal
It's a polar
reference.
version of TMS.
Yeah, that must have been what it was, which is why I couldn't remember the name of it, obviously. Anybody else have any questions?
Well, please join me in thanking our speaker.
If you guys are ever down in Southern Oregon and want a tour of our chemistry building or campus or anything, you can find me online, Oliveri. Reach out.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anna.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you everyone for being